Good morning and welcome back to Wasp News Media. In this video we're going to be going over Claire Fox, which is one of the Brexit Party's Northwest MEP candidates, and to see the veracity of the claims of her supporting child porn and jihad videos on the internet in the UK. So this from the Morning Star on April 25th, 2019. Brexit Party candidate says people should be free to watch child porn and jihadi videos. Nigel Farage's Brexit Party has chosen a candidate for the European elections who thinks people should be free to watch child pornography and terror videos online. Free speech fanatic Claire Fox told The Telegraph, "I do not want to give the state and the authorities the right to ban things on the internet. No ifs." When questioned, she said this included child abuse and terrorism videos, even though she felt they were vile and illegal. She claimed this is not about defending child porn, right? This is about fighting censorship and fighting for free speech. I actually don't think we should ban jihadi videos because I don't think that is what causes the issue of Islamist violence. I think we have to confront these things beyond banning them. She also said, actually, most child porn is not child porn because it's stimulated. I don't want to go into the details of that. So, you can decide for yourself, and I am interested to know what you guys have to say in the comments below of whether or not you do think that this is a free speech issue. Obviously, there are some crimes that are committed and are illegal by definition, but the recording of them and posting them online are still legal, and vice versa. For example, if there is a crime of murder and there is clear footage of somebody killing another person, that can still be reported on and used as evidence and further through journalism. And other things like regular porn or adult porn is prostitution, if not recorded and therefore a crime, but when it is filmed and put online and becomes porn, then it is legal. And in terms of jihadi videos, if it's advocating for violence, then of course that is a call to action instead. And I'm also intrigued to know what you guys think about whether or not incitement to violence should be allowed under freedom of speech or not, because if you're telling somebody to do something, should you also be held responsible for their actions, or do you think people are individuals and therefore are in control of their own agency and should be held accountable for their own actions and not worry about the influences from somebody else? Because of course with those things, surely you can still be running catch up of whether or not somebody was inciting to violence, because they would be trying to get around the laws where they don't explicitly say, go do this, but if they were to say, if something happened to this person, I wouldn't feel so bad. Obviously, that is no incitement to violence. They are not explicitly telling anybody to do something, but the outcome is getting the message across that they would like something to happen to that target, and they're fine if somebody were to do something to that person. So the outcome is still the same. So where is the pragmatic approach over the semantics of the wording of whether or not incitement to violence is okay? I'm very interested to see what you guys have to say about that, and whether or not you would take it down to a class or intelligence issue of, well, some people can't be trusted to think for themselves, and therefore if they're told what to do, then they will adopt those views or adopt those actions and go forth with it. In which case, what should be free from people's own decision-making and maybe even democracy? Obviously, in America, with the written constitution, there are some things that can't be voted against, like the First and Second Amendment, unless you have a 2/3 majority, of course. The idea being that there are some things that should be more sacred than democracy because they are a requirement for the functioning of society and therefore are untouchable. So, I'm intrigued to know what you guys have to say about that, and the same goes for libel or slander. Is it okay if somebody does lie about somebody else, because without censorship it allows a response to be made and the reputations will be damaged by the people who said it and the truth will out? Or is that too idyllic and idealistic that the government should step in and there should be legislation? I'm intrigued to know with my audience of where you guys stand, of how much freedom is therefore too much freedom, and if you lie about somebody, is that then reducing their freedom or not if you don't stop them from replying to your comment? I'm intrigued. But moving on, the latest parts about Claire Fox are about her supporting the IRA, supposedly, because this was about her party at the time, the Revolutionary Communist Party, which is only really communist in name from looking at their policies. In fact, if we go to the Wikipedia page here, they do have the rejection of all controls on immigration, which of course then opposes the stance of Brexit and leaving the EU, considering we're supposed to then have stronger borders afterwards for our own sovereignty, so that it's citizens who are voting and it's difficult to become a citizen, whereas you essentially get rid of sovereignty if anybody can vote. You might say, well, there's only citizens, yes, but if the bar is so low and anybody can become a citizen, then it's basically open to anyone. And the other stances are free abortion and contraception on demand, decriminalisation of homosexuality and complete equality under the law, and the party's campaign Workers Against Racism aim to organise physical defence against racist attacks. But it has been criticised, particularly by Robert Griffiths. If we move down here, General Secretary of the Communist Party of Britain, who said there was nothing communist about the RCP apart from the name. They always found left-sounding reasons to support right-wing policies and attack the left, notably during the miners' strike. They seemed to just be against the United Kingdom, and in fact even with supporting the IRA, which was another break from a larger bloc, which would be Northern Ireland leaving the UK and becoming one with Ireland. They would receive their own united country. Claire Fox said that she supported the Good Friday Agreement, which did not get Northern Ireland to leave the UK. Whether or not you can associate that similarity between the UK trying to leave the European Union and Northern Ireland trying to leave the UK is up to you, but she said that when that didn't go through, even though the quote, if we have here, that the Revolutionary Communist Party defended the right of the Irish people to take whatever measures necessary in their struggle for freedom. This was by the party, not herself, and a spokesperson, not Claire Fox, has disavowed that and said that she has moved on since then. Obviously, people's views do move on, but are you worried about how quickly people's views change? If you elect them into office on a basis, you're going to expect them to maintain those views for the time that they are in office. Surely you don't want them to flip-flop too much, otherwise you're no longer getting what you voted for. But if she is okay with the Good Friday Agreements, where she is supportive of Northern Ireland leaving the UK and then saying, well, actually, you're not leaving, and we have 3 strands from the Good Friday Agreement, which strand 3 was the East-West issues and institutions to be created between Ireland and Great Britain, including an expanded British-Irish interparliamentary body in order to get Northern Ireland a little bit more of independence from the UK, but not really. And in the Brexit talks since then, it's been said by the Tory government that they're going to maintain the Good Friday Agreements to keep the United Kingdom united. I'm interested for the 2 points. If you are a free speech fanatic and extremist, as was similar to Carl Benjamin or Sargon of Akkad has been labelled, and he supports that, even though he said he wouldn't call it that himself, and that he does draw the line between free speech and incitement to violence in a very pragmatic way, even if he isn't sure on a moral level of which side of the divide to come down. I'm interested to know what you guys think, and then also if you think that somebody can change enough from permitting violence to allow you to leave another bloc, so much so that you want to leave, that it's okay to commit violence, but then being okay with actually not leaving afterwards, that is then acceptable if that person is suitable to lead for the Brexit negotiations and be elected as an MEP, if they've changed their mind enough, and if you're worried that they would change their mind too much when in office, if they're just going to conform to whatever people say at the time. That's what I would be concerned about if I were to vote for Claire Fox. Obviously I'm not. Dominic Robinson's got my vote, but let me know what you guys think. If it's like, yeah, of course, she's going to be a great lady, that was all in the past, and Revolutionary Communist Party weren't really communist, they just wanted open borders, but that was in the past, and now she's going to be different. And what she said about the IRA isn't so important because that was in the past. And what she said about child porn being allowed and jihadi videos being allowed, not that viewing either of those is okay, but the existence of them is okay. If it's going to be, oh yeah, well that's fine because we want free speech, we don't want censorship from a technocracy within members of the European Union, like Article 17, of course, passing, which makes things more difficult with the content creators and memes passing around, with Articles 11 and 13 with the link tax. If you go, well yes, we need more free speech, and it's a slippery slope, so we can't put any blocks on that. Otherwise, what are we going to say is child porn or not child porn? Is there a clear enough distinction? I mean, I would say yes. And jihadi videos as well. Well, what's the distinction? Is it an act of war or not? Because they view it as an act of war, but we view it as an act of terrorism. So how do you draw those distinctions? Let me know what you guys think down below, and I will get back to you next time.